Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for UFC Fight Night 37, Gustafsson versus Manuwa, which happens on March 8th, and it's going to be available on UFC Fight Pass. Overall, it looks like a pretty good card, actually. Got Gustafsson in the main event. It's Jimi Manuwa, Michael Johnson, Melvin Guillard's a good one. Brad Pickett's on the card. Gunnar Nilsson returns. Even the prelims, Luke Barnatt, not too bad. Cyrille Diabate, it's been around for a while. Davey Grant, decent prospect. Luis Gaudinot. So you have a pretty decent card here. Let's get started. Alexander Gustafsson fights Jimi Manuwa. Well, everyone knows Alexander Gustafsson, and many actually believe that Alexander Gustafsson beat John Jones in a Fight of the Year candidate. He has a 15-2 record, 9 wins by KO, 3 wins by sub. He's 27 years old, stands at a good 6'4", if not even taller. Trains out of Alliance and All-Stars Training Center. Strong boxing. He uses combinations. He moves really well for his size. He has a really good chin, man. That guy's chin is granite. And his grappling's steadily improving. I mean, his takedown defense against John Jones was pretty stellar. And he's been showing some improved takedown defense for a while. And his overall ground game actually isn't too bad as well. Manuwa, 14-0 undefeated record. 13 wins by KO or TKO. 1 win by sub. He's 33 years old. He's 6 foot to Gustafsson 6'4", but dude, the guy's a finisher, and he's never been past the second round. He has really strong Muay Thai, really good knees. This is a guy that when Ryan Jimi was clinching with him, even when his back was against the cage, he'd knee him in the legs and the body and stuff, and really kind of use some effective offense against Ryan Jimi's clinch game. And he has some really heavy hands. His grappling's actually improving as well. If you watch the Cyrille Diabate fight, Cyrille Diabate would go for a knee. Jimi Manuwa would go for a takedown. It was, you can definitely see some improving grappling on Manuwa's part. It still worries me that Manuwa's never been past the second round. I don't know if his cardio is that great. Stand-up's really good though. I don't know if he has a I think Gustafsson has a better grappling. Like I said, I like Gustafsson's movement, his chin, his boxing. I gotta go to Alexander Gustafsson to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, Melvin Guillard fights Michael Johnson. Both these guys used to fight out of the Black Zillions. Melvin Guillard is now with Grudge. Johnson is still with the Black Zillions. Tough one to call here. And they're both similar in this sense. Melvin Guillard has a 31-12 record with 2 draws and 2 no contests. 9 of his 12 losses are by submission. Michael Johnson has a 14-8 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. 6 of his losses are by sub. They're both not that strong off their back, and have been susceptible to getting submitted. They're getting better at getting back to their feet when they're taken down, and showing overall good takedown defense. But yeah, in that sense they're similar. Melvin Guillard has shown to be a little more explosive. I hate to it's with there's a joke with black fighters. I think it's Goldberg or Rogan will say that they're athletic and explosive. I guess with white fighters they're intelligent and strategic or something. But Melvin Guillard really is explosive. He's heavy-handed. He kind of darts in and out and throws really fast combinations. He has really good knees as well. Michael Johnson, coming off a nice 2-fight winning streak, just knocked out Gleison Tebow. He moves really well. I think he fights on southpaw. His takedown defense is improving. He's not great off his back, though. You saw that against like Miles Jury. But he throws straight punches, throws them in combination, throws them at angles. If he wants a Joe Lozon fight, he stepped off outside of his lead leg the whole time, and that's kind of how he managed to continuously tag him with power shots. So he's good at cutting those angles as well. So, you know, it's tough to say who's going to win this fight, to be honest with you. I like Michael Johnson, but he has, I mean, he does have his moments where he gets in trouble, whether it's against like Shane Roller or Danny Castillo. You know, he gets in trouble a lot. Melvin Guillard, though, I mean, he's not always the smartest fighter as well. I mean, this guy has dove into guillotines. Mentally, kind of like mentally checks out sometimes. It's tough to say. I'm kind of tempted to go with Gillard, but I kind of like Michael Johnson's momentum right now. And like I said, I like the way he kickboxes. I think also Melvin Guillard keeps changing training camps as well. You know, I just don't know where his head is at sometimes. I'm tempted to go with Gillard, but I'll go with Michael Johnson to win this one. Next fight after that, we have Seery versus Brad Pickett. Seery has a 13-9 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub. He also has 5 losses by submission. 34 years old on a 4-fight win streak. He's taking this fight on short notice. It's his first fight in the UFC. He's fought, especially recently, and just a lot of times, he's a Cage Warriors veteran. Brad Pickett, 23-8 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 10 wins by sub. He also has 4 losses by submission. 35 years old, training out of ATT. It is his first cut to 125 pounds. Otherwise, he's been a consistent top 10 bantamweight. He is something of a brawler with a really good chin. This guy's chin is amazing. I'm watching Michael McDonald fight. It took a lot. He wouldn't go down. Even in the Henan Barao fight, I mean, it took a lot for Barao to put him away or to drop him, and then he got choked out by Barao. So he's got a really strong chin. He's always pushing forward, very aggressive, and this guy has some of the most underrated grappling out there. Good scrambles on the ground, and just an overall really good grappler. I gotta go with Pickett here, you know. The only thing that goes against him, it's his first cut to 125. Otherwise, very well-rounded fighter, top-level fighter. He does own a win over Demetrius Johnson at 135. Of course, I feel Johnson has improved since then. Nonetheless, gotta go with Brad Pickett to win this one. Okay, next fight is that Omari Akhmedov fights Gunnar Nilsson. Akhmedov has a 12-1 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub, 11-fight win streak. He has a strong chin. Stand-up's kind of sloppy though. I mean, the only fight I can really judge him on is against Thiago Bodao Porpatuo. They were brawling, but dude, this guy is resilient, man. This guy just won't stay down. Stand-up wasn't that great, but he does have a sambo and a pancration background as well. He fought Thiago Bodao at 185. He's cutting to 170, I believe, for the first time. He had a hard time. He actually, to my knowledge, he couldn't take down Thiago Bodao. And speaking of takedowns, it makes it really interesting because he's fighting Gunnar Nilsson. 11-0 record with 1 draw. 3 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. He's 25 years old. And he is a top-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. Everyone will say it, but it holds credence here. I mean, the guy beat Jeff Monson, who's humongous, in like Abu Dhabi or something to that nature. He has a karate-style stand-up. His cardio is a bit questionable when he fought last guy he fought. And that was a while back that he fought him too. Jorge Santiago. He didn't show the greatest cardio. And he's kind of undersized for the weight class. Whereas Akhmedov should have a size advantage over Nilsson. I'll go with Gunnar Nilsson though. You know, he's a really good prospect. His ground game is phenomenal. His stand-up still needs some work. He did get tagged a couple times by Jorge Santiago, or George Santiago, but otherwise, I'm curious to see how this fight's gonna go. I go with Gunnar Nilsson to win this one. Okay, on to the prelims. Cyrille Diabate fights Ilir Latifi. This is an interesting style matchup because Latifi has a 7-3 record with 1 no contest. The no contest came because the ring broke. I think it's against like Blago Ivanov or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. 2 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. He's 30 years old. Striking, I remember when he fought Musasi, it was just decent at best. It seems like he is mainly a guy takedown and ground and pound type of guy, which is actually a good style against Cyrille Diabate. Diabate has a 19-9 record with 1 draw, 8 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO and 4 losses by sub. He's 40 years old. He stands at 6'6". He has some strong Muay Thai, tall and lanky guy, but he's relatively weak off his back, and his cardio isn't that great. His takedown defense, not the greatest, not the worst, but not the greatest either. And that's how I can see how Latifi wins, but I can see Diabate keeping Latifi at range and making it hard for Latifi to get those takedowns. Latifi also looks undersized as a light heavyweight, so I'll go with Cyrille Diabate to win this one. Next fight after that, Luke Barnatt fights Mats Nilsson. I actually don't know much about Nilsson. He has an 11-2 record with 1 draw, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub. He's 30 years old on a 2-fight win streak. It's his first fight in the UFC. And against a guy like Luke Barnatt, who's coming off a really good win over Andrew Craig. You know, he has a 7-0 undefeated record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. Stands at 6'6", pretty tall middleweight. Stand-up's good. He is slow. I mean, his name's the Big Slow. He's not the quickest puncher, or he'll throw knees, but they're not super quick. But he is tough, resilient. He actually has some pretty good judo as well, actually, or uses a really good judo throw from the whizzer. He's really good at that. Hits on a lot of his opponents. Very interesting prospect, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know if he'll be a top 10 guy, but Barnatt's definitely improving. Has that really good win over Andrew Craig. I gotta go with Luke Barnatt to win this one. Next fight, that Brad Scott fights Claudio Henrique de Silva. Brad Scott has a 9-2 record, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. He's 24 years old. He's got some solid stand-up, solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. I believe he beat Michael Kuiper by guillotine choke in his last fight. Before that, he lost to Robert Whitaker. I think that was at 170, and now he's fighting at 185. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting that he moved up in weight. I don't know if it will help him or if he's going to move back down. De Silva has a 9-1 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. He's 31 years old on a 9-fight win streak, training out of London Shoot Fighters. It will be his first fight in the UFC. I watched his fight against Xavier Fulcum Pocum in the SFL. He did a lot of the winging overhand punch to takedown, and it worked on Professor X. But Professor X's grappling has never been the greatest. Stand-up overall is kind of sloppy. He threw lead kicks, wasn't really great kicks. You know, he kind of rushes his punches to get the takedown. His mission is to get the takedown, which isn't too bad. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he does have some solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Overall, though, I can't say I was terribly impressed by what I saw from the guy. Brad Scott is just one of those guys that's, like, I don't think anyone really knows who he is. I don't even know if he can really... I mean, he's a prospect. He doesn't have too many fights. He's only 24 years old. Yeah, I'll go with Brad Scott to win this one. Like I said, he fought well against Robert Whittaker. And then got that win over Michael Kuiper. I'll go Brad Scott to win that one. Next fight after that, Roland Delorme fights Davey Grant. Delorme's interesting. He's a guy that came out of the Ultimate Fighter, really nondescript, and turned out to be a solid mid-tier bantamweight. Not the greatest. You know, his stand-up still needs a lot of work. 9-2 record with 1 no contest. 2 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. 30 years old. He has some good ground skills, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Got to see that against like Edwin Figueroa, and especially against Alex Caceres. He's a good scrambler as well. His stand-up, decent. It's not bad per se. It's just decent at best. You know, average at best stand-up. Fights Davey Grant, who's coming out of the Ultimate Fighter. 8-2 record with 1 win by TKO, 7 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by submission. He's 28 years old. He's never been past the second round. He is a finisher. He's never been to decision. A lot of what you can see besides the Chris Holdsworth fight, which really you didn't get to see much from Davey Grant. You know, from what I saw, good stand-up, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Not really what I'd call a specialist per se, but good everywhere, not particularly great anywhere, is kind of how I describe Davey Grant. Roland Delorme's kind of like that too, but I think Delorme's just more of a better grappler. And Davey Grant's a good grappler in his own right, especially if 7 of his 8 wins are by submission. I'll go with Davey Grant to win this one. I always sleep on Roland Delorme. I think I've always picked him to lose, and he's always impressed me. Even in loss, he impresses me. I'm kind of doing that here now too, to be perfectly honest with you, because I don't, you know, Davey Grant, he looked good on Tough. Didn't have the greatest fight against Chris Holdsworth. But Holdsworth looks like a guy that's probably going to turn out to be like a top 10 fighter, to be perfectly honest with you. Nonetheless, I'll go Davey Grant to win this one. Okay, next fight is that Igor Araujo fights Danny Mitchell. Danny Mitchell has a 14-4 record with 1 draw, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 9 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. 27 years old on a 2-fight win streak, and it's his first fight in the UFC. Igor, 24-6 record with 1 no contest, 1 win by KO, 17 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. He's 33 years old on a 5-fight win streak, most recently beating Eldemar Alcantara, training out of Jackson's. He's got some solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills, good in the clinch as well. You know, I'll go with Igor Araujo to win that one. And finally, Luis Gaudinot fights Phil Harris. Phil Harris has a 22-11 record with 1 no contest, 4 wins by KO TKO, 13 wins by sub. He also has 5 losses by KO TKO and 5 losses by sub. 30 years old. Anything I remember about Phil Harris really is he had solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. I remember his stand-up not being too great. Luis Gaudinot has a 6-3 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub. He's 29 years old. I remember his last fight against Tim Elliott, he looked very bad. He got taken down and ground and pounded. He had a really fun fight against John Lineker. Kept pushing forward. He's really aggressive. Stand-up's decent. He can kind of brawl at times. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's solid enough. And on The Ultimate Fighter, well, he lost to Bedford before that, but Bedford was so much bigger than Gaudinot. I'll go with Luis Gaudinot to win this one. I think he'll have some good forward pressure here. Might even be a little better than Harris in the stand-up. Might be able to hang in the ground with Harris as well. So to recap the main card, I have Gustafsson over Manuwa, Michael Johnson beating Melvin Guillard, Brad Pickett over Seery, and Gunnar Nilsson over Omari Akhmedov. On the prelims, I have Cyrille Diabate over Ilir Latifi, Luke Barnatt over Mats Nilsson, Brad Scott beating Claudio Henrique da Silva, Davey Grant over Roland Delorme, Igor Araujo over Danny Mitchell, and Luis Gaudinot over Phil Harris. So that's it for my predictions for UFC Fight Night 37. If you have any comments, just leave them below. That's it for MMA for You. Thank you guys very much.